Hello everybody, welcome back to ArsenGirl Gaming. My name is Heather, and I thank you for joining me for another speed build for The Sims 4. I know it's been a while since I've done one, but I went to a tiny house show over the weekend here in town, and I saw some tiny houses, and I wanted to build some tiny houses, and I thought that the trailer park that we were given in Strangerville would be like the perfect place to build some tiny houses. And that's what I'm doing in this episode. So basically what I'm doing today is I'm going to build two houses in this little 20 by 15 lot. And I was kind of inspired by some of the tiny houses that I saw, but also by some of the tiny houses that I watch on TV, because I'm obsessed with tiny house TV shows and tiny houses. And having just bought my own new house, I realized I can't live in a tiny house. I just can't. I have too much crap. And I like too many things and too many places, and I realized I could not give it up. I couldn't. It was terrible. Like, this house that I'm living in is fairly good size, and I'm only missing like one room, I think, from like the house I just moved from. And I call this my tiny house, but square footage wise, it's the average. Like, it's an average middle class America sized house. So but I've been busy for the last like 3 weeks, like unpacking and putting everything away. And I realized that I have too much stuff and nothing that I really want to part with. Now, that being said, I do have to say I pared down a lot before my last move, which is a little over a year ago, when I moved from one state to another. We got rid of a whole bunch of crap. Then we moved into a rental house, and then I bought more crap for the rental house. But we only stayed there for a year, and then we moved to another city where I bought a new house, and I left a lot of the crap that I bought for the rental house behind, brought some, and then bought new stuff. So IKEA is a really good friend of mine. I like shopping at IKEA. I wish we had an IKEA pack here in The Sims, because I can spend a lot of time, effort, and money at IKEA. But the good thing about it is, while you spend that stuff, it's not as expensive as it could be. So if you have to leave things behind or sell them or whatever, you can, and it's not quite a big deal. So anyway, that's kind of off the track, but I just suffice it to say, I realize that I cannot live in a tiny house yet. I just like the luxuries of the space that I have. I probably don't need all the space, but I just like having it. So anyway, doesn't stop my fascination with tiny houses. Totally obsessed with them. Making them livable, making them have what you need for the average person. They're a little harder to build in The Sims 4 the way I would want to, because a lot of tiny houses take advantage of dual purpose items. So like being able to build a staircase and then build cabinets into the staircase. Having lofts that take that, 300 square foot foundation and give you extra living space. I couldn't really do that in this, but I wanted to. However, what I did end up with in these two buildings that I'm building, and they're two separate tiny houses, I did his and hers, basically. So this first one I'm working on is a male kind of, I don't want to say, it's a more masculine feel. So this could be the his version. The way I ended up decorating it, it is definitely leaning more toward a guy. But what I wanted it to do is not just be your typical box. I wanted it to have a little bit of an archaic. I should just stop talking now. Architectural detail, such as this bump out here in the front, gives a little bit extra space in the house, and you'll see what I do with that later. But the idea is just so it's just not a plain box. And I used a lot of windows so that there was a lot of visual interest from the outside, plus inside that provides a lot of lighting to the house as well. And I don't know how come I was allowed to, but I took roof texture and put it on the porch. And I really like the way that metal, the corrugated metal, looks. So I was glad I was able to do that. I went with more traditional, like tiny house siding that you might see if you watch anything like Tiny House Nation or any otherwise. And I just wanted it to be really interesting. So the idea is that we have this trailer park in Strangerville full of all these like mobile homes, beat up trailers, whatever. But, if you go to like trailer parks or campgrounds or things, and I think more specifically, like when I spent time at Lake Erie, we went to take the ferry, and right next to the ferry was a trailer park for like, it's not one I don't think people live in year round. I think it might just be for the summer. But in that trailer park, you had a mixture of massive RVs, smaller campers, but also tiny houses. And it was fascinating to me because I think that was really the first time I ever saw tiny houses in real life. I didn't get to go in any at the time, but that was the first time I was up close and personal to them, not just seeing them on TV. And I like that dichotomy of having this like more of a traditional type park where now people are driving in their house and it looks like a more traditional house. Some of them have patios. Some are, on wheels, but they hide like the wheels with like a foundation so that it doesn't look like it's movable. And so that's kind of what the idea was with these. We don't really have wheels or anything we can use to put these on wheels or on trailers. So I put in a foundation hoping that would kind of camouflage the wheels, that you have to use your imagination and go with me. But the idea was a very simple 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, but you have a living space, a dining space, a kitchen space. And in this one, I ended up putting in a workspace so that, the person could work from home if they wanted to. And I wanted it not to be, just traditional. I wanted it to be a little bit interesting. And I think I came out with that with the layout. The room I'm working on right now is the bathroom. And I decided not to put a door in it. I decided to leave it open because the doorway leads into the bedroom. And I just wanted it to be part of the bedroom, but separated from the bedroom, but not its own like doored off room because I felt that would enclose the space a little bit too much. So I think I managed that. There's enough privacy that, even if there's 2 people or 2 Sims living in this house, one could be using the bathroom, one could be sleeping, whatever, and it's not going to be an issue just because that door is not there. So I like the way it came out actually, and I really wanted to see what I could do on this 20 by 15 lot as far as 2 really livable spaces. I probably could have done a third tiny house and perhaps might try to see how many I can do. I kind of have an idea, like I'd like to down the line do like the beach houses, the more traditional beach houses. I know in like Siesta Key, there's a whole trailer park that is nothing but tiny houses made to look like beach houses that you can rent for like $200 a night or something and get the tiny house experience. And so I may do that in a future video. We'll see. But in this one, I just was kind of like playing with the idea of we've got this little lot. It's in the middle of this trailer park. What can I make happen? So, as you see in this first one, because we don't have sectionals, I did kind of run with the idea of the booth from the restaurants and then making it the couch. I tried to play around with resizing here, which wasn't happening. But I wanted it to kind of be the couch area, and then I pumped up the table and the chairs to it so that, people could sit around and eat or they could lounge. And I wanted a workspace, like I said earlier, so you could work from home. But I also didn't want it to feel like it was cheap, right? I wanted nice cabinetry. I wanted nice furniture. I wanted the feel of it to be nice. You'll see when I do the wall texture, I was kind of going for a very simple, because I didn't want it to feel cluttered or busy, but I wanted a simple wall covering that had some kind of texture, some kind of movement to it, just to give you a little bit of visual stimulation, because I did use a lot of grays and a lot of blacks and a lot of whites in this, and wanted just to kind of pump it up, just a little bit. So that's what I did. And then here in the kitchen, what you just saw is instead of putting like a hood over the oven, I put a shelf set so that there was more storage. I mounted the TV over the desk so you could see it from the table and the desk and the lounging couch, whatever. I was really pleased with that. I really think it came out quite well. And you'll see here, I just do a real simple concrete floor. I was playing with the idea of doing wood, but I thought this guy, because in my head it's a guy living in this place, would probably go for concrete. And then I found the wall texture I liked for the family room or the main room, and then ended up changing the wall texture throughout the whole house for that. Because I really love that, and I like the kind of wavy movement that it has. But anyway, yeah, I think it came out really well. I do go in here right now and find some rugs just to kind of break up and soften it out a little bit. That way, if it is, a place for a couple or a place for, even a woman who prefers a more masculine taste of home, she will still have that little bit of softness there. I just like to kind of balance those edges out just a little bit. So, yeah, I really like the way that this came out. I was very, very much pleased, and I thought I could do my very own tiny home show or festival. Just build a whole bunch of them and have people come see them virtually. All right, and after that, then I am going to move on to the more feminine of the tiny houses. This one, I saw a picture of a house that I was trying to replicate. In that picture, these two columns went like all the way up to the roof, and the roof edges were thick, so it almost kind of came down to it perfectly. And it was just so cute. I really wanted to do it. I liked how the focus was on the front of the house, but the front door was not there. So I got it as close as I could. And in the long run, I was so thrilled with the way this one came out because I kind of really love the kitchen. And you'll see what I mean when we get inside and start kind of laying it out. But in those columns, I took the walls out and I tucked away the refrigerator and the oven in there so that they're not taking up space in the house itself. They're kind of leaving us with more room, but we're still fully functioning. So that worked out fantastic. Plus, this whole like little wall of light or wall of windows here gives so much light that I just thought it was like perfect. I didn't add any other windows, except I will add at the end of the video some windows in the master bedroom and the bathroom, just because there was no light back in that back area. And I felt like there needs to be a little bit of light, a little bit of window at the front. Now, the house I was trying to mimic, that whole point, the whole cathedral at the front, that is all windows. So like triangular windows, which we don't have, but thankfully for Strangerville, we do have this kind of, the window I use, which is kind of the sort of one of the few that we have that has kind of a peak. So it worked. It's not exactly the feeling I was going for, but it did the trick because I needed it to. So I was really glad that that was an option. And I wanted to do something a little bit different with the colors outside to kind of signify that it was a little bit funky, a little bit fun, but also that, a woman lived here or could live here. Again, anybody who wants to is welcome to. And I say that because I put both of these houses up in the gallery. I did put the brown one up first, and I did that by itself in the gallery. And I think it's if you go under ArsenGirl Gaming or ArsenGirl, you should be able to find it. And then I did upload both of these as well together on the lot, just as it is. And it called them His and Hers Tiny Houses, I believe, again, under my username. So you can go and find them and download them for yourself. The whole idea with this one is I wanted to use color, and I wanted to use color that I traditionally would not have put together, because That's something I'm noticing a lot when I go to tiny houses. Like, they're very colorful. It's almost like because they're small that they have to, like, use color to kind of draw your attention into more aesthetic parts of it. So that was the idea behind the colors of this. And then I wanted to have, plants, and I used that little in the house that I was the kind of the guide that I was using. That was a very, very small, like, little porch area. And I thought, what a perfect place to put plants. I've been dying to use that bathtub from Strangerville because I love it. And I think I mentioned in an earlier video that I did see somebody in the town next to mine that had some of those bathtubs out in their yard. It was like amazing. And they were pink and they were so cute and they had all different flowers in them. And I thought, wow, what a fun, fun, fun thing that is actually something I have seen in real life, because I had never seen it before I was out and about. So that was very interesting that the Sims team decided to do that. Must be a thing these days. I don't know. But I like it. So, all right. So here I'm working on the kitchen, and you'll see what I mean. Like, I tuck the appliances away. They fit in those little alcoves just perfectly. And then I'm able to have this whole stretch of countertop. Now, the one thing I did realize when I was done with this video is I forgot to put a sink anywhere in the house because the bathroom did not fit one. And so I'll probably end up using the counter and getting rid of the coffee maker in lieu of a sink, because we need somewhere to do dishes, unless you shove in a dishwasher, which is totally doable as well. So I don't think the Sims will go and do the dishes in the shower. So just beware, if you do download this from the gallery, you will need to put some kind of sink in there or some kind of dishwasher. I was struggling a little bit here with the family room. I wanted to do some kind of interesting placement with the furniture, but I wanted to have a full sitting area so that guests could come over, she could entertain, have people hang out. And I was kind of thinking about, like, the double duty kind of thing. And so that's where I did these poofs. And then I wanted to have a coffee table, and I was like, this works perfect. So in a real tiny house, you may have something like this where you might have a table that looks like just a plain table, but if you open it up, it has, poofs or chairs or stuff hidden inside of it so that when you have people over, they have somewhere to rest their butts. And so, yeah, so that's kind of where I was going. I did use the Move Objects cheat to move the poofs into that table, but it worked out really nice and I liked it. And I kind of really like the color scheme. I know I tend to go a lot of times for these pinks or these mint greens, but that's just my aesthetic. That's what I like. And so that's kind of what I was going for. I wanted this to be, like, not high end, like super high end, but I wanted it to be a place where you walked in and you were like, girl has taste. She might have some money. She's very classic, very, very stylish. And I wanted that to feel that way, even though this whole house, in real life might only cost, $80,000. It's just, you don't have to have a big space to make it fancy to show that you have taste and class. I mean, I totally believe that. You can do that in the smallest of homes. You can do it in the worst of neighborhoods. It doesn't really matter. And this is kind of my ode to that, if you would. Because, look, they're in a freaking trailer park. Next to her is, an RV, an Airstream RV. I mean, this might not even be a permanent stop. It might be a permanent stop. Her rent lot might be, tiny amounts, but she is able to use that money then to make her life comfortable and do the things she wants to do and not be tied down to the mortgage of a house or the location of a house, for that matter, since most tiny houses that would be in a park like this are movable with a truck or otherwise. And I also like the idea of doing this in kind of a different layout than the first tiny house, so you could see that just by the placement of walls, you can change things around. Now, this one, The living area is a bit larger than the other one, I think. But the bedroom, you'll notice, is so much smaller. There's not even a room for a dresser. She can literally walk in, get to her bed, and that is it. And I did that on purpose. I wanted the focus to be on the socialization areas of the house, less or more so than like the sleeping areas, so forth. And I think it came out great. I really love it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you get some ideas from it, and I'd love to know what you guys are doing with this little trailer park in Strangerville. And of course, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you watched. And if you'd like to see more of my videos and you're new to my channel, go ahead and subscribe. Then ring the bell, because that'll let YouTube know you like notifications when I post something new. And that way you won't miss out on anything that's coming down the line. And I will see you guys again real soon. Enjoy the rest of the video. Have a great day.